Okay. Hello, hello. There we go. Okay, perfect. I guess we're good to start. Um, Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. It's always very exciting to host these webinars. It's very nice, very interactive. We get to know interesting people and get to be asked uh, truly truly interesting questions. Okay, so this is going to be a webinar centered on our Daniel's technology, but more in the context of how can AI be applied to business cases, business use cases, and it's going to be centralized on profit maximization. Okay, so with AI, obviously, there's a lot of noise in the market about what can you do in a company with AI, and one of the uses is how can I leverage AI to help me make money made easy. And that's why we build an autonomous profit maximization engine that allows B2B manufacturing and distribution companies understand how the company is run and recommend how to improve outcomes in the future. I'm honored to be here with Raj. We're going to be speakers today. I'm going to intro myself and then Raj, but I'm part of our Daniel, working with the go-to-market strategy. Um, Towards opening the market in US. As you know, AI is a hype that has been around for a couple of years. So it's a new market. Companies are engaging in these new technologies. So educating companies, educating customers, and this engagement about learning from the customers and improving the product is just part of the process. So it's an interesting thing. I've been working in the company for some time, and I'm here to just share experiences about what we have done in the market. And on the other side, we have Raj. Raj, I'll just say a few things and then you can intro yourself. But we have worked together since 2023, I guess, Raj. Um,
Mhm.
Raj come from IBM, and we embedded technology from IBM in our Daniel. Interesting journey and interesting application. So if you want, you can say a few things, a few words about yourself, Raj.
Sure. Thanks, Juan. And good morning, good afternoon to everybody. Raj Patel from IBM, part of a team that's called Build Engineering. So our main focus is to work with partners like our Daniel in helping them embed IBM technology. So I've been, part of the Watson X team for the past 3 years since we launched Watson X, and worked with a large number of partners in helping them bring their solution into the modern AI world, and make it available to their clients, and then a win-win for everybody. Over to you, Juan.
Amazing. No, it's been great working with you, Raj. Excellent team. Recommending IBM as a partner. So let's dive into what can we do with our Daniel. Okay, and this is just like in a nutshell. Our Daniel is an AI that finds what your business doesn't know to look for and tells decision makers what to do to maximize profit. That's our value prop. And the interesting thing is that, just as a highlight, we can onboard within customers between 2 and 6 weeks. So we made this technology available. Obviously, I'm going to give you more details about what we do, but it's not only very powerful, but it's accessible in the short term. You can be up and running within 2 months, and start seeing the value or what you can get from this type of technology, applied AI. I'm going to tell you a short story to land on how exactly we help companies. And obviously, these companies, Amazon, Walmart, Uber, all the airlines, what they have in common is that these are a handful. I mean, there's not too many companies that have cracked profit maximization. Profit maximization is knowing how to make money. I mean, obviously, for example, you get Walmart. They have economies of scale, and that's one of the advantages. But they have economies of scales because they have known how to make money, and that's truly a competitive advantage that they have. Profit maximization. And if we look at how do they do it, we need to consider a lot of resources. So each of these giants, they have an army of economists, pricing scientists, demand analysts, logistic experts, machine learning engineers, data scientists, high-end technology, and much more. They have buildings of people in different cities, different countries, and they have one specific task. They need to optimize whatever makes money to the company. So demand, margins, prices, discounts, inventory, customer basket, cross-selling, and much more. And to be successful, this is something that they need to be able to do on a daily basis. And I know I put across millions of new data points, but if you think about a company like Amazon, those are billions of new data points every single day. So if you want to be the best at making money, you need to be able to analyze pretty much everything every single day. And that's a hard task. But this is how they do it. They have the pocket, they have the resources to do it. Amazon itself spends more than 5 billion a year in profit maximization resources. And this is talent, high-end technology, and much more. And they obviously they have been building this throughout time, but this is today. They spend between 5 and 10 billion, and if they do that, it's because the upsell is way more than that. I mean, it's a core thing that they need to invest on. And 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 obviously, when you think about investing this money, having these talented people, all these resources, um, they become experts at predicting the unpredictable. Okay, that would be, yeah, the core competitive advantage that they have. That's how nobody else can beat them in what they do. But the thing is, what about everyone else, all the other companies? You don't have 5 billion or 100 billion or 5 or 100 million, right? um, if you don't have the money, or let's say if you have the money, okay, but there's not enough talent in the world so that every company can have their army of economists, machine learning engineers. I mean, it's both sides. It's not only about the money; it's about the expertise. You need to build something that can help you maximize profit. Since nobody else can do it, pretty much they're guessing. They're basing their decisions on the main drivers of the company, the main customers, cost up, margin, pricing. So obviously, it's the way business has been done the whole time, but they are missing opportunities, right? If you can't analyze everything in the company, if you can't have these advanced analytics or discovery capabilities or machine learning, everything I mentioned above, then you're leaving millions on the table every single year, and we know it. And how do we know it? Because we tell ourselves like, oh Jesus, I wish I had something or a team of people or a technology that can help me make more money. So we know that we have that gap, but it's inaccessible. This is limited only to the giants, the ones that have the expertise and have the money. And that's where we come in. Okay. Our Daniel is autonomous profit maximization AI. And based on the story I just told you, think of it like dropping an Amazon level profit maximization team into companies that not only could never afford to build one, but could never build one because it's too sophisticated. And we made it available. We say autonomous because we don't need the army of people, and we still do profit maximization. So you don't need the data scientists, the machine learning engineers, the AI experts. You don't need them because it's embedded into the technology. And for this to work, because if we talk about millions of new data points or billions of new data points, analyzing all the company's data, that's a very complex scenario. It is very complex, and Raj is going to tell you a little bit about how we can, how we kind of split this environment into two different engines to allow it to do the work that it does. So I'm going to talk about what we do through the night, and Raj is going to talk about what we will like what we do in the mornings. So we have two reasoning engines. One that works every night, which um, analyzes every customer, every SKU, every price, inventory position, demand signals. All these millions or billions of new data points are being analyzed continuously every single night. And not only the new data, because we have historical data and we learn about uh, pattern recognition, customer behavior, product behavior, so that we can forecast the future. But we have to do this through absolutely every combination in the company. So we look at one product with one customer, then the same customer with another product, then the product with a city and a region and a seller. So a bunch of stuff has to be analyzed so that you don't leave anything on the table. And that's going to be part of our first reasoning engine. It's an intelligence that reasons about different scenarios, can compare them to one another, and kind of get all that analyzed. Millions of different combinations analyzed every single time. The technology behind it is a combination of things. This is not LLM based technology, but we do have LLM. This is more hybrid AI. So we have different AI techniques working together, uh, like synchronized. So, but as I said, we separate in two different engines that have different purposes. In this engine, we have Deep Discovery AI, which is something that we created. This allows us to we analyze millions of different combinations. We can discover areas of improvements or or opportunities within those millions of scenarios. And that that would be the core part. But inside also we have machine learning, which is learning about behavior patterns so that we can recognize the risk of losing a customer. But that's combined with financial models so we understand the impact on the profit. And then we can see things about pricing, about inventory, replenishment, about cross selling. And then we have data science. So we have all these different AI techniques that we combine them, they work together, they learn about the company, doing analysis and discovery at the same time within millions of different scenarios. So you don't have to do anything. It works while you sleep. And then I'm gonna hand it over to Raj. This is what happens in the morning. You're on mute. There you go.
Yeah, right. Great. Thanks, Juan. So let me, talk about, okay, so Juan talked about, what happens in the night, right? Now, as you come into the morning, right, that's where you want to, be able to get a lot of the insights from the system, right? So again, what just happened in the night is really analyzing massive amounts of data, right? So you have a millions and millions of records that have been analyzed by the the reasoning engine that's been created by our Daniel, right? Now, what I'll focus on is, how does Watson X fits into this solution, and how does it help you as the end client, right? So quickly about Watson X, right? So it's a IBM's data AI platform. We, have the simple inferencing engines, the LLMs, IBM's LLM, so you can bring in your own models, or we have third-party LLMs as well. all the way to the data solutions as well as the agentic AI platform, right? So again, some part of Watson X has been leveraged in the R Daniel solution, right? So uh, the first layer that Juan talked about is, has done a lot of deeper analysis on the millions of data points across all the customers, product pricing, whatever you name, right? It really has done a good amount of job. But the challenge is, how do you present that to how as a user, right? How do I make sense out of all of that, right? How do I get the key insights from all of the data that has been collected, that has been analyzed? And that's where Watson X comes in, right? So Watson X provides a more natural, intuitive way for the end user to interact with the insights. So things like, I can come in the morning and I can say, what are the most important opportunities I should be focusing on today, right? Which are the key customers that I should be focusing on? Or is there a risk for, if I put all my basket with this customer, are there any risks, or am I losing any margins right now? Or how should I increase my margin with a particular customer? So again, these are simple queries that I can make to the system. And then the system will respond with a highly contextual insight from all of the analysis that has been done, right? So really to the point information that I can then consume as a client, and then I can act on it, right? So again, all the analysis has been done uh, by the system behind the scene, and the reasoning engine is interacting, leveraging what's the next reasoning, the capability, from LLMs, as well as some of the other capabilities of Watson X, and it's giving you the insights that you want, right? Um, so really what you get out of that is really the clarity from the data, not just, a bunch of spreadsheets or the entire data dumped to you, but really, a key insight saying what matters to you, why does it matter to you, right? And then what you should be doing about it, right? So all of that insight is something that you will be able to get out of that system that's leveraging Watson X. Uh, Now, uh, again, you have a lot of these traditional AIs that sometimes takes a long time to deploy, right? But the key part of the RDNL solution that's leveraging Watson X is you can quickly train a particular client's data set and be up and running in a very, very short time. Be that in a few hours, that you'll be able to deploy the solution, have the system understand what your data is and how your data is structured, and then be able to start giving you the insights in a very short time. Again, this is just the beginning. So this is where you as a user are asking questions and getting the insights from the system. But again, going forward, there are a lot of enhancements that are planned, which is really you know doing a lot of these analysis and then proactively surfacing these insights to you. For example, maybe sending relevant recommendations directly to the user's inbox on what matters to them, what they can act upon, what they can do during on that particular day to maximize profits for your business, right? So rather than searching for the insights will directly come to you. Again, the goal here is uh, making the system very easy to use, making the AI accessible, making it very practical, business friendly, and at the end of the day, making it work for you so you can maximize profits for your business. So again, a great combination, between our Daniel and Watson X. I think it's been a great pleasure working with the team, and the solution that's there is phenomenal, right? That will benefit all of you. So with that, let me hand it back to Juan.
Thank you, Rash. That was amazing. So a lot of good stuff. Just to when we have these two reasoning engines working together is where magic happens, right, Rash? You have one that has the power of analyze everything, and then you want to take that to a natural way of interacting with the already analyzed information. So I'm going to put it in two ways, right? Because one of the main value props of our Daniel is that we can tell you things that you didn't know you had to ask. Didn't know you had to ask. So this is discovery. And if we want to do discovery, we need to be able to analyze everything before doing the discovery. So we combine those two things. This is not the usual prompting where you ask a question, then it goes and tries to pull the data. No, we have everything analyzed without nobody asking questions, and then you can interact with everything analyzed with this second reasoning engine. So it makes it more natural. And reaching out with opportunities and asking questions about the opportunities, that's the way to go. Okay, we want to make that part very easy for the user. And obviously, this is an evolution. I will show you a demo at the end of this presentation. But you know that AI just evolves really fast as we go. And what we have in mind as our next steps is just fantastic. Okay. Um, just to give you some real life examples. I'm going to share three customer stories. This is one of Nike's largest global distributors across 25 plus countries. And plug in our Daniel, because and you in the audience, you can have access exactly to the same process that we have with all the customers so far. We can run a POC, a proof of concept, in just 24 hours, 48 hours. Sometimes we have a queue of customers, but it's really quick. And we can do the POC with no commitment, no cost, with your real data. And many times when we run the POC, you can immediately see uh, areas of improvement. And kind of this happened with this customer. Um, and the scenario was that just in one picture, the CEO could see that some products were misplaced in a customer that was losing profit. Right? It was obviously, when you see it, you say, "Oh, this is straightforward. This is obvious," but you weren't seeing that before. Okay, and he just saw like, okay, why don't we just stop selling these products to this customer, and why don't we just relocate them in these 2 or 3 customers that actually the margin is better, etc. Just with one picture, and that change, that only action, increase the profit by 1.5 million next month. We have this one which is a Texas manufacturing company. Uh, this was actually on the POC, the proof of concept, and it was really good because this textile manufacturing company has a lot of data. Like, they're really good at all the detail that they have in the ERP, but they've never used it before. Have a lot of granular data. Plug it in, and it came out as a news discovery. Like, hey, we have an unusual behavior in different products sold to different customers from regions by different sellers. But there was one thing in common with all those products. It was a red fabric. It was a case where there was a 50,000 monthly profit leak. And obviously, you get a discovery, you deep dive, and then they got to the conclusion like, oh, we have a quality problem with this red fabric from the provider. So taking an action, in this case, it's not like, oh, we make 50,000 more, but we stop a profit leak before compounding. They were losing continuously 50,000 every month because of this unusual product return. So they fix it. Now they don't have the profit leak. So this was very interesting based on how granular we can get to. And this one is food and beverage distributor. This one is also very interesting because they have a way of pricing um, their products, right? And cost increase for a broccoli, and they increase the price, and they have like a 2-3% churn, customer churn, and they freaked out, and their reaction was to roll back prices. But the interesting thing is that our Daniel counterintuitively proposed to increase the price. And they were like, Jesus, we're losing market share. Now you telling us to increase the price. And it was actually the right decision because our Daniel not only took those 2% churn customers, but analyzed the other ones and said, okay, it doesn't matter if we lose more customers and more volume. Uh, the only way to compensate the cost increase is by increasing the price. And we have this percentage of customers that will just keep purchasing more, and at that point you will offset the loss in volume with the increase in gain in price and profit. So sometimes these type of situations are counterintuitive, but it's because everything has been analyzed. It's not like gut feelings or rush or, oh, I think we need to do this. No, there's science behind this type of recommendations. And as you can see, we have three different scenarios. But if we talk about pricing, we need to consider inventory. We need to consider customer behavior, product behavior. If we talk about, um, you know, yeah, everything has to be connected at some point. And as Raj said, uh, we're just getting started. I mean, the possibilities are just endless in regards to what we can do with all the data that companies have. That's like a gold mine that has only been scrapped in the surface. So we're just getting started pretty much. And as we go with the customers, we learn from the customers and we iterate, we improve, and so on and so forth. So that's the presentation. That's the context, the initial context. I I'll just to keep you interested, I'll show you a quick demo. Um, I'll do it quick because I don't want to overwhelm you, and then we can jump into Q&A if you have any questions. There's a comment section on the right. You can start typing questions if you have any, either for Raj or myself, and we would happily answer those questions at the end. So I'm going to share my screen. Um, okay. Raj, can you put thumbs up if you see my screen? You don't see it yet?
Not yet. No.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's,
Okay. So this is one way to interact with our Daniel. Okay. This is what we call a news board, which is way different from a dashboard because a news board works like a newspaper. It shows you whatever is relevant and you need to know at the moment. So it changes. And the editor is going to be our Daniel after analyzing the company's data the night before. And obviously, there's a bunch of ways you can play with it. You can uh, convert all the data into visualization, like photos and snapshots of the company, but also you have information about things that have happened. Okay, and I'm gonna go back to a comment that Raj said that uh, here we have some of the most important things that happen in the company, but still we're taking it one step further by taking outside of this news board the most important things and putting them in your pocket, in your inbox, in your chat. I mean, however you want to interact with our Daniel, that's the next phase of what's coming. You can get an email about, hey, we have this situation with this product with this customer, and that was sent to a specific seller. And reply back like, hey, what can I do about this? And you get an answer. So think about our Daniel like an intelligent entity in the company that knows how to optimize how you run your business. Okay, but this is just another way to have it. We have here news or discoveries. For example, this one, where you have one region seller channel with a situation that is impacting the company with 130,000. Analyze what happened, came to conclusions about the main cause, and I can click here and get more context about what exactly was analyzed. This type of analysis usually, if you think about the real world, when you want to know about a situation, you have to ask your analysts. They have to run some dashboards, pull the data, then analyze it, and try to find patterns, and then get to conclusion. It's a very manual and lengthy process, and this was done completely automatic. So you get graphs, tables, uh, text that explains a little bit what you're doing, and even get to deep analysis conclusions about um, how the behavior has been so far, getting insights about the future. So you get forecasting up to 24 months, and our Daniel runs all the forecasting algorithm and selects the ones with lowest margin of error, and a bunch of stuff that you can use as context for whatever situation is being analyzed. That's the news. They change every now and then with new situations. So hopefully we show you things that you didn't know about your own company. I'll just show you another way you can interact with this. Go to the profit tab and look at price recommendations, for example. Gonna the price variation tree analysis, where you can very easily analyze 2,000 products, break it down by different actions happens. Like this includes discounts, um, variable pricing through customers, etc. And you can see where and how situations of price changes have gone south. Example, if we put same price profit down, okay, we got six products where this had a negative impact, and we have recommendation of price changes. So then again, it analyzes the history, the customer behavior, product behavior, and is suggesting me, okay, we have this product that the current price is 10.28, but with the science, the optimal price should be 17. But even though that's the optimal price, in practice, you're not going to increase your price by 75%. So our Daniel suggests or recommends a 4.1 price increase to 1080. And this will make you 543, right? I'm just saying random numbers. Obviously, you would expect this to be bigger, and sometimes you get 100,000 or 130, like 45,000, like the one I showed you about the broccoli. But if you want to know more about why is suggesting this price increase, I can go specifically and analyze the product. We have emollients. I can go to prices, and then it's going to show me uh, like the pricing analysis it did of variation. And then you have more context, like, okay, so this is what's the action that you want to take. Do you want to maximize profit? This is the context about maximizing profit. Is this a margin driver, profit build? This is what you should do. Is your strategy to maximize revenue? This is what you should do. Or is your strategy to maximize volume? You can see that in this case, the strategy would be to drop price by 45%, right? This is going to cost you money. But if you plan or your strategy is to maximize volume in this product, is because perhaps it's going to increase the volume of other products, complementary products. So all these type of things can be analyzed by our Daniel to tell you, okay, if you want to have an anchor product um, that maximizes the volume, yes, you will lose 2,000 in this product, but you'll make 25,000 in more sales with XYZ products. Okay, so those are just a few examples. I'd love to show you more, like customer risk, um, where it can tell you the risk of losing customers. Um, but I'm going to stop here because I don't want to overwhelm you. and this was just to have like an idea of how this can look in practice. So I'm going to go back here to the presentation, stop sharing, and and yeah, we are open to a Q&A if everyone. Yes, we got
Okay.
yeah, Rash.
There are some questions in the chat. If you can
Yes.
maybe start the first.
Okay, so can you tell us about the experience of their Daniel team? Yes, of course. I mean, that may be a question everybody can ask because when you think about AI, all these companies they might have been born in the past few years, but with our Daniel, we actually have history. We we come as a spin-off on another company that is an AI lab, a research and development lab that has released many products in the market, really good products. But in one specific product, which what it does is sort of like cost allocation within complex companies. Think about a hospital, for example. We could, with that product, we could build multi-dimensional P&L statements to the most detailed level. I'm going to exaggerate, but this is going to be an example. Like if you go to a hospital and they put you a vaccine, um, the needle that they use to put you the vaccine can make money sometimes, but can lose money sometimes because it depends on what time they put the vaccine, who put the vaccine, who was the customer, etc. So we could theoretically take it to that level. It's not that we did it, but we could do that. But actually, when we solved that problem to the customer, we created another one. Now we were having millions of more data than before. So that doesn't solve the problem of getting value from analysis. So we said, why don't we create an AI that can actually analyze all the data to pinpoint the handful of things that really matter? And that's where the idea of our Daniel came in. We launched in 2022 with the beta customers, and now we have partnerships. We are in 5 different countries, and we're here just to keep growing. Okay, we have one for Raj. Maybe you can take that one, Raj.
Yeah, I can try to answer that question. So I guess so first I would like to talk a little bit about what's the next portfolio and overall IBM's data security posture, right? So obviously IBM is you know prides itself with data security, right? So we ensure that all of our resources and anything that you do in AI is secure. And you know, one of the common questions that I get every time I engage with a partner is, does IBM collect data for all the AI usage, for all the LLMs that are being used? And the only answer we have is no, IBM does not collect any data to train AI models or to use it for our own AI benefits and stuff, right? So of course IBM does not collect any data. Now in terms of how you leverage AI, obviously all of the resources that you use within IBM's infrastructure, be that LLMs, be that any of the AI portfolio, be that any other cloud resources, right? Obviously they have uh, uh, a good or solid access controls that you can apply. Uh, and then, typically what partners would do is create separate instances for each of the clients that they will have, right? So that way you have a separation of one client's data from another client's data. Uh, so that you're not intermixing or you're not really causing any issues of sharing data among the clients. So hope that answers questions. But again, if there are follow-up questions, please post it in the chat and then I can take that forward.
That was great. That was great. can give it a few seconds if you have any more questions, or we can give back some time to the attendees. Okay. I get that that was great, Raj. Thank you very much for your time. I really enjoyed presenting, and big shout out um, um, to Ricardo, for hosting this webinar. And if anybody has any questions after the webinar, we're happy to answer them. I would encourage you to, you know, um, take the story, think about your company, and if you don't get into the AI wave, then competition will do. And at some point, if you think about doing taking actions in the company, getting recommendations, analyzing the data, there's no doubt that this is going to be the way to do it. I'm not. I'm going to say in the future, but it's happening now, right? So if you're curious about how this can help your company, just take the step, take the leap. I mean, if you find that not only about our Daniel, if you find companies that are willing to test it with you, so that you can see the value, and then decide upon that, I would encourage you to do that. It's a really interesting environment. It's very fruitful, and you can learn a lot about in that process. Okay, so again, Raj, thank you very much. And this was exciting. Thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks. Bye.